Welcome to the Connected Enterprise Podcast. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision33. And just to let you know, this podcast will be posted both on audio channels and audio and visual channels. So be sure to check us out on YouTube as well as all the normal places you listen to podcasts. My guest today is Paul Vitale from VerifyMe. And Paul and I have been speaking over the weeks, months perhaps. He has some very great technology that I want to share with you. And we're going to do that today. So Paul, welcome to the podcast. Start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and VerifyMe.
Yeah, hi, Carl. Thanks very much for giving us the time today. My name is Paul Vitale, as you say. I'm based out in a small town called Zug in Switzerland, just near Zurich, and I've been working with VerifyMe for just over 12 months as their VP of Business Development for EMEA and Asia Pacific region. VerifyMe are based out of Rochester, New York. They've been around for a number of years, but more recently they've seen the technology develop with the onset of the rainbow secure invisible inks that they've manufactured, and partnering with such organizations as HP, Indigo. It enables us to lay these invisible IR pigments and inks down on digital presses. And we also partner with other ink manufacturers such as Inks International, the third largest ink manufacturer on the planet. And it enables us to create and manufacture other solutions for other types of printing and security printing for overall brand protection and customer engagement.
Yeah, I think that was the key, is this whole idea of brand protection. I liked that a lot when we spoke. By the way, I wanted you to know that I did look up where you live in Switzerland, and you are a very lucky man. That's a beautiful place. And,
it certainly is. Yeah, I feel very fortunate. Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So, Paul, this is brand protection. That's really what we were talking about. The reason that came about is because there's an awful lot of theft, right? And people that are stealing your brand, putting it, on their own stuff and selling it as if it was yours. Yes. How big a problem is that on a global basis?
Latest statistics and figures would indicate that it's the 6th largest economy on the planet. I mean, it is forecast that it's over $2.8 trillion worth of goods will be sold in the counterfeit market for 2021, based on the growth of the last number of years. The counterfeiters are becoming more educated. They're better equipped. They're doing a better job of counterfeiting. With the onset of digital, it does allow them to create, counterfeit, and use certain methodologies that they couldn't before, whether that's sealing or printing products or sealing containers again, or whatever that might be. They're becoming more sophisticated, I should say. That's the word I was looking for, really. And it's becoming harder and harder to detect and harder to combat. But so we have to keep trying to stay, there's a lot of us trying to stay ahead of the game so that we can come up with new ideas and new approaches to help try to combat this. I mean, one big statistic that came out, and it's a really interesting one, is that, brands these days, brands are competing, they have competition, but at any one time really now, their biggest competitor is their own counterfeit. And and if that's running at 20 to 30%, that's going to affect your business wholeheartedly. And it can be, certainly for the bigger brands, it can be huge volumes and huge amounts of money at stake, but also for the smaller brands that could have their brands ruined by counterfeiters that, producing faulty products and going back to that smaller manufacturer, that smaller brand with the issue, creating a bad name on social media. It can really affect the smaller brands quite badly as well. And it's a real shame and a real problem.
And right down to the consumer. I mean, how do you know what you're purchasing is the actual thing you're purchasing, right?
Absolutely.
What your intent is.
Yeah. So, and what we always say, the products that we work on, we kind of specialize in it. If you're putting it on your body or in your body, then it needs to be protected, and that's whether that's cosmetics and creams and makeup. There's been horrendous results with counterfeit products with makeup and cosmetics. Pharmaceutical products, as you can imagine, that is there's over 1 million people die a year from counterfeit and fake pharmaceutical products, nutraceutical products, and then you've got food and beverage, the drinks industry. You know, it is just rampant and rife, and if it's a drink that's going in the body or something that's going on your skin, then you need to make sure that it's a genuine product.
Yeah, and these thieves, I don't know what else to call them. They're very opportunistic. I mean, we even have people doing that with the vaccines now, right? So
Yes, yeah,
and you know, desperate people will do lots of things when
that's
they
right.
think they have
That's
a
right.
shortcut. So
Yeah, we managed to, we're working with a company at the moment that, and you think, okay, it's not masks, it was actually PPE gloves, but it's important that they are the genuine product. And we've just done a little proof of concept with a company, just on 2 million packs of the PPE gloves, where, you know, they want to make sure that the package is still sealed and delivered to the right person and the right organization in the right area at the right time. So we can create a tamper evident label that will void if it's removed, or if they're trying to take the genuine product out and sell on non-genuine products using the same packaging. It's just not, you're not capable of doing it. And then if you're using something like a variable, unique QR code on that tamper evident label, you will then flag up very quickly if that code is scanned too many times or is replicated and copied and out there in the wrong region or the wrong country. It will scan very quickly, and it will alert and trigger the platform that there's something not right, and we can change that messaging that is received, and we can shut that down.
so what's the technology that VerifyMe has really come up with that's helping people to keep track of their products better these days?
Yeah, sure. And we kind of say we're kind of a one-stop shop, really. We have almost a 4-tiered approach, Carl. And the first thing we would do is we have an online monitoring capability. So we know where certain products are meant to be sold. We know which websites are authorized to sell those and which marketplaces. And we could quickly do a survey over 2 or 3 months and just analyzing and monitoring websites and domains that are selling a brand's product. And it would quickly trigger any anomalies, any alerts would quickly be triggered, and we can work with the brand to close those sites down quickly. But what that does is gives us a landscape analysis of a brand or a range of products. And then we can say, okay, well, let's start doing something physical now with the product. We've gone from the digital, let's move into the physical side of it. And the first thing we would do is look at the serialization that they've got on that brand, on that product. If they don't have anything, or they're not using something that the consumer could engage with, we'd recommend a variable, unique QR code or dot matrix code going onto that product. And now that's onto the label or being printed directly onto the product using something like continuous inkjet presses, or, as I say, if they're using a label, we can use a digital presses like the HP Indigo to print a digital label in a single pass that would have an overt, visible, unique QR code. So that would be our second stage, if you like. Right. And if I know we're doing some video here, but I'm just kind of holding up to the camera here. We've just got an example of a typical printed label actually done printed on an HP Indigo digital press. And we've got the overt QR code here. Yep. That if that is scanned, it can be scanned along the production from manufacturers through to distribution, through to retail. And so it's a full track and trace capability with a digital code like that, a unique code. But then the consumers can engage by scanning that to find out about the product. And if that code is scanned in the wrong region, the wrong area, or too many times, it triggers an alert. So you have a degree of control and protection through that code.
So if I see that label on the product that I'm looking at in a store, and I happen to be in a country where that product is not supposed to be, that's going to trigger an alert.
It will trigger an alert, and the message that you will receive is that this product cannot be verified, and that it will because we know it's geolocated, it will be a regional on a regional basis. So it will be a case of it's in the wrong region, it's been diverted, or it's been counterfeited. It cannot be verified. Please refer back to your retailer or wherever you purchase this product. If a code is scanned too many times, and we know that a code is getting multiple scans, we lock that code down for the brand completely. This is a counterfeit product. Do not use this product. So we can change the messaging. If products get stolen, we change the messaging on those batch of codes for the brand. If the brand knows that a range of codes has been diverted, we can take preemptive action before they even get out there into the retail store.
That's protection for the consumer.
Yes,
for sure. And also for the producer of the product, because they're getting communication that somebody's doing something nefarious out there with our product. And so they can kind of look into it and try to trace it and find out what's happening.
Yeah, that's right. That communication with that end user, if they're scanning a genuine product, so you've got an anti-counterfeit measure, but you've also got a customer engagement measure, that if it is in the right place and the scan is correct, then you can communicate with that consumer in a way that you've not been able to do so before. And you can obviously, when they scan the product, they can have a product history, they could have its provenance, literally from grain to glass, as they say, or from the field to the end user, from the field to the pair of denim jeans with the cotton. You've got a full traceability record, and then it could be where to buy my next product, other products within the range, certificates of analysis, or for cannabis products, or the ingredients of a cosmetic product, any allergic reactions. And you could then ask for feedback from the consumer. How have you found the product? Have you enjoyed using it? Would you like to try our other products within the range? And you can get a two-way communication going with the customer that really you've not been able to do before now. Once that customer's bought your product, they're out of the door. You don't know who they are and what their relationship with the product is and what their experience has been, and this allows that to happen. So you've got the you've got a protection issue, but you've also got this customer engagement element that works really well for brands.
Now that's a visible code. I mean, we're all familiar with QPR codes these days.
Yep.
See them all over the place. So that's there, but you also have some sort of like an invisible code that you can print on a label.
Yes.
And why do you do that, and what's its purpose?
Yeah, sure. This is where it gets exciting. If you've got an authentication problem and you feel that your product, you need to be able to check it to a higher degree and have a higher level of security. Okay, so let's get some invisible marks onto that product or onto the label, so that inspectors or people at distribution level can check that the products they're receiving before it hits the stores are genuine products. And it's what we've done is we have our own specialist pigment called Rainbow Secure. It's an IR pigment, so it's on the infrared spectrum. And with the help of our partners like HP Indigo for digital presses, we create an invisible ink with HP Indigo that sits seamlessly into the HP Indigo presses and will lay down invisible marks and codes on a label such as this. But we can also work with Inks International and develop colored inks and inks for other types of traditional presses, where you could actually lay these invisible marks down on aluminium substrate for bottle caps, or plastics for coverings or caps, or for bottles, or so we've got a whole range of services available. The important thing is with IR, it's certainly with our product, it's hard to copy. It's not got an open supply chain. It's a very highly controlled supply chain. The IR spectrum is very unique, and the ink is the way that we develop the pigment. It's programmed to fluoresce at a certain wavelength and frequency that is then only detected with our VerifyMe VeriPass detectors, and I'm going to show you that in a short while. So quite easily, you see just this standard label again that we've got, Carl, here in the top corner of this yellow block, completely invisible to the naked eye. If we just take one of our beepers here and we just scan here, nothing happens at all. And for those that are watching on video, you'll see, and the audio guys will hear this. As we move over the yellow corner, it detects very quickly and rapidly. Okay, so and nowhere else on that label. And that would be the same on a product. So you can imagine, now that, as we're indicating here, is just a static mark. We've laid some invisible ink there. But that, as I say, could be done on bottle caps. It could be a spot color where we take the color of within, say, a logo, or it could be this yellow spot color here at the top of the label here. And we get the chemistry of that ink. We create exactly the same ink, but it then contains our IR rainbow secure pigment, and it will then fluoresce at a certain frequency that will be detected by our beeper. Now that is just, it's great. It's a quick test, and it's for pure authentication where you've got a mark and you just need a rapid response. What we like about this beeper now, Carl, is it's got Bluetooth capability, and it will link with the app and geolocate. So if brands have inspectors out in the field, they will know where those inspectors are inspecting product. They'll select from a drop-down menu which product they're testing, and it will geolocate and date and time stamp that inspection. So it's really easy to, open a case, do a quick inspection of whether it's a label or the cap on a bottle, and detect whether or not it's a genuine product.
So you kind of have to have some inside information there to know where that invisible marker is.
Yes. So we would work with the brand to make sure that's all predetermined. Mm-hmm. And as I say, that's an easy way of just putting a static mark down. And then the final, really, the creme de la creme of this type of invisible, laying down this invisible ink and this invisible pigment is, rather than just lay a static mark, because this is done with a digital press, we're able to, this mark in the corner here is actually a hidden QR code. So all the intelligence that you have with a code, whatever that code might be, a serial number, barcode, dot matrix, or a QR code, if you can hide all that track and trace information within that code, and then use one of our authenticators to scan that code and interpret that data, that is a completely unique solution that we have. And the way that being able to the software and the technology shows the inspector where that code is on the product, which is a question you just raised us a few seconds ago, indicates where it is on the product. You make the scan, you record that information, and it will tell you exactly where that product came from, where it was being shipped to, where it should be, and any other parameters that you want to hide within the intelligence on that code can all be there, but can only be detected using our authenticator and interpreted and given back to the brand. This is really for the larger brands where you've got a diversion problem, where products are ending up in the wrong region, the wrong country, and they've no idea where those products are coming from. And this is a way of being able to interpret that data and do something about it and prevent that diversion from taking place.
Pretty fascinating, really. And I think, with what you were saying about, you want to know you've got the genuine thing, especially if it's something you're putting on or in your body, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Or that you paid a lot of money for.
Sure.
Yeah. You don't want a knockoff, right? In that case, yeah, for sure. So I think that's one of the things that really appealed to me, is that just as a normal consumer, that if I really was, doing that, and I had any doubts at all, that I would have a way of verifying that it's the genuine article.
Absolutely.
But I think also for the companies that are producing these and investing in, manufacturing these products, to be able to control their inventory, to that degree, and really know when someone is trying to take advantage of you, and reduce the amount of, theft and whatnot that's going on in the whole world in that regard. Which, you shared the revenue information. That's an amazing figure. Right. It's kind of like,
it is quite alarming, isn't it? Yeah. We're working with a couple of large drinks manufacturers. It's a multi hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue each year, and they have between an 8 and 10% issue with counterfeit on a certain whiskey bottle, and they've got to come up with good ideas as to how to try and prevent that and lessen that burden. And we're doing that with them. Yeah.
Are they working, do these companies, as they find out these issues, then do they report this to, law enforcement agencies and things like that to do
Yes,
further
absolutely.
investigation?
And that's, I say, with the online brand protection element of the business, we're able to provide them with that necessary information that they can use it with the authorities to get sites closed down. We're working with the anti-counterfeit group in the UK, and that covers the whole of Europe as well, where the information we gather with the ACG can lead to take the counterfeiters to court, get businesses closed down, working with trade agencies to do certain raids on premises if counterfeits are discovered. So we're working with these other associations to enable that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds amazing. I'm sure that the folks that you're working with, you mentioned a few of them, are seeing some results as they've been able to take advantage of this technology. So.
Yes, and I mean, we're building partnerships. Although we're based in North America and out of Rochester in New York, we are expanding now across EMEA regions. We have partners in Pakistan, in India, in Malaysia, in China, and the UK as well. So we are creating an impact, if you like, across the globe. The new partnerships that we've developed over the last few years and our new technology that we are consistently developing to stay ahead of the game means that this global problem that we're having, we are being able to address it on a wider scale now as a company. We're a financially strong company, that helps. We're able to work with brands to do proof of concepts and pilots where we can share the burden a little bit to get a proof of concept going. And as I say, with this tiered approach, it means that we don't just pull it off the shelf and it's say, okay, you're going from standing start to 100 miles an hour within a few weeks. It's a gradual process. We work out where the problems are, how best to attack those problems, and we take it stage by stage. And that should enable us to build long-term relationships with brands to nullify and reduce their counterfeit and brand protection issues.
One of the things that you were showing me a few weeks ago is when a product is scanned by a customer or an inspector or whatever,
yep.
It's instantly kind of geolocated.
Yes.
And plotted on a map basically.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that as
yes.
the creator of a product, you can really see visually all the distribution of your product and
That's
how it's extending out there, and that was one of the quickest ways that they could tell. I don't know why that's there. Right?
That's right.
We don't have anybody in India today distributing the product, so how did it get there, right? And so just things like that make it very easy for a producer of a product to really see, are we under control or are we not, right?
Yeah. And I could show you that if that would.
Sure. I think for
well?
our visual folks, that'd be great, and we'll kind of talk everybody through that just so.
Yeah, sure. So I've got the code up on the screen. I'm going to just show you this. So I'm going to scan that code on the screen. That would be a label on a product. It's a genuine product, but it's a demo code, and I've scanned that code.
So you can just do that with your phone's camera.
Yep, just a standard QR reader.
Yep.
I'm into the product. I confirm. It's now checking through the cloud that the code is genuine. It's in the right place. It's not been scanned too many times. It's confirmed that the product's genuine and we're good to go. And then I can go on a journey on the mobile phone and have a look at the range of products, certificates of analysis. I could link out to videos. I could, you can really take the customer out. You could ask the customer some questions, and you've got a full inventory of the range of products that you're selling, its ingredients, its history, its provenance. So it's a very powerful tool for brands to use the code for customer engagement.
Mm-hmm. You can see that, and and easy, right? No, it's not difficult, for anyone to do, for sure.
That's right. Now, what I would normally do now, Carl, is show you the results on the screen from the laptop, but I won't be able to show you that, I'm afraid. What I can do is show you the invisible code scanning, so that will work well. We launch the VeriPass app and placing this onto the authenticator, if you can see that.
It's connecting there.
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to do, so I would be an inspector in the field. I'm going to test the product.
Kind of log in. Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I do with that, the label that I showed you earlier, is I'm going to select which product it is. I'm going to scan the overt code first. It's checking through the cloud that yes, the code is good. And it's saying at this stage, as far as we know, the code is good. It's in the right place. It's not been scanned too many times. It's now asking me to scan the invisible code, but it tells me on the software where that invisible code is hidden on the label or on the product.
Yep. You can see that because it comes right up for you and shows you where on the label that invisible code is at. So
yep. So I now hover over where that code, and you'll see as I block out the ambient light, the infrared code appears out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we're scanning that invisible code, and that is a verified product.
And it is a QR code as well, but it's just with that special, invisible ink
that's laid down with the invisible IR ink. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's like two layers of security you've got there, which is
that's right.
Cool.
So that double layer of security using an authenticator to scan visible and then the invisible code is completely unique globally, and we have the global patent on that as well at VerifyMe.
That's very, very, very powerful. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to log on here to the back end, and I will see. Remember that it was on the genuine product, which was the push product, but the demo code, and we've got the real-time activity here, and you will see my scan there in Switzerland set on US time at 12:30, and there was my scan. If you can see it on the map there.
Yeah, so we've got a world map, and it locates the scan that you just did.
And I'm based just south of Zurich, and we can hone right in onto my road. There you go. That's my house where I've just created that scan. So nice. Your customers that engage with the product, and that was the code that we scanned just off the presentation, Carl.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to the other dashboard, did it just flick out to the new dashboard then, Carl? Did you see the screen change? Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll log into the other one, and again, this is the invisible code.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at the activity.
So you have separate dashboards for the visible and the invisible code.
Well, in fact, for the same, a brand would use one dashboard, but I'm using, this is a demo dashboard that I'm showing you here. But that was the other one was for the push product, which is a genuine product. So it's completely different products altogether. Yeah.
Okay.
So the invisible, you'll see that we've been doing some scans down in Karachi earlier on with our partners, and over in China using the invisible scan. You'll see that on the map. Yep. And the codes that I've just scanned here again at just a second ago. And if I go down to the information here, you'll see the two codes were scanned 1232 and 123204, 123239. The two codes scanned just after one another. If I just show you that. And what I can do is, okay, so you've scanned the code. We can take that code and inspect the data that's hidden within that code. So here you've got the 6 parameters that we've allocated when it was produced, where it was manufactured, where it was distributed, and where it should be. And all that, you can have up to a dozen different parameters there, all held as intelligent data on that QR code, but all read invisibly. And using our authenticator to interpret that data. So you can imagine that, if a product is in the wrong area and you've got counterfeiters and diverters, diversion companies at abusing the technology, well, this is the way of counteracting that and being able to read those codes using the authenticator, read those invisible codes and stop that diversion in its tracks.
Yeah, they might be able to copy the label and what's visible, but they would not be able to copy that invisible QR code.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, if your
And,
inspector gets out there and can't find the invisible code, you know that you've got a problem.
that's
Yeah.
right. And what we like using, there are UV and black light inks out there that people will know of within the brand protection field, but they fade over time. So we use it's an IR ink that doesn't fade. It has an archival quality in excess of 15 years. We're still scanning codes that are much older than 15 years. We're now able to put this the ink down on material and cloth and nylon. We're doing some more testing. We've just done a lab test of 60 wash cycle and wash and dry on materials where the ink is still being detected. So yeah, it's called a light fastness, and it's got a high degree of light fastness, so it doesn't degrade over time. If you've got products that carry UV invisible inks that are on shelves exposed to sunlight and ambient light, that invisible ink will become completely invisible over time, and you will not get that with the Rainbow Secure IR ink.
Yeah, that's interesting that it's durable on textiles like that. That's pretty incredible. Well, Paul, thank you. That was great. I know for those of you that are having to think a little abstractly out there, you'll have to use your imaginations a little bit,
Yes.
I suppose. But I think you can capture the principles that we're talking about. And if you do end up hearing it in audio only, well, then check out the visual one so that you can get a little bit better idea of what we were speaking of for sure. Paul, where do you see the future, going with this product? I mean, you think more and more companies are going to be trying to do things like this to protect their brands?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it is brand protection it's a growing industry. We are experiencing some what will be exponential growth over the next 2 or 3 years, the way that brands are engaging with us and other brand protection companies, of course. There's a lot of companies that do a great job. They do it differently from us. They might be using shifting inks or different kind of whether hiding information within logos, or they could be using a fine print, or there are different ways of doing it. We have a solution that we feel can compete with those other companies. We're very focused on the future and trying to help as many brands as we possibly can. But it is a global problem, and we're all trying to correct it because we're all concerned about the products that we use, the products we ingest, and the problems the products that we're using on a daily basis, products that our children are using, products that our families are using, and we have to be sure that it is genuine. We've got to stop these counterfeiters in their tracks, especially when they're using inferior products that badly mixed or can cause reaction and can be harmful. It's a serious issue. So we have to stay ahead of the game, though, and it's a constantly changing battle. And we hope that VerifyMe are able to, using our technology team, come up with new ideas on a regular basis, develop that technology to suit, and work with brands to stay ahead of the game. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, the name of the podcast is The Connected Enterprise, right? So one of the things I think this is good about is it's a great way for companies to stay connected to their customers.
Yeah.
It's a great way for companies to stay connected to their products wherever they go in the world, and just give everyone a lot more security about what they're buying, purchasing, and using in their daily lives.
Right.
So, Paul, we thank you a lot. Appreciate you spending some minutes with us to explain this technology. And
Thanks very much, Carl. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And for everyone else out there, till we see you again, stay connected.